James Perry is here. Doug Schubert. Here. Kathy.
Present.
Dolores will not be here, and we haven't heard from Grace, but we do have a quorum. One, two, are. I should have never touched my papers. Yeah. Just everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna have, let's do a consideration to approve, October 4th, 2023, minute meeting.
I'll second.
Second, okay. All those in, is there any questions? All those in favor of approving the minute meetings? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have consideration, the request for the new exterior paint scheme and front elevation updates for the silver tab building formerly Farley's Pub, located at 230 North Broad Street. And
Thank you very much.
here you are, I didn't see you. There you are.
Chairman Perry, and committee members, this is a request for new facelift and exterior paint for the most part at Farley's Pub. Hopefully the description and the exhibits were clear in that the elevation right now, the applicant proposes, or I believe that's enclosed, the glass block that was existing, removing the conduit from the frontage, the unused conduit, and then giving it a paint job, including the interior. And my apologies. The proposed elevation is here, and you have the paint colors, and I believe there are also swatches available for you. There we are with the colors. Now I recognize that this Benjamin Moore 1603 for this portion of that brim over the entry is dark actually in light of this color that's being shown here. I think generally that's the color. I believe these are the body colors already painted. The applicant is in the audience and is available to explain. We also have these graphics that kind of color code the different colors based on the Sherwin-Williams swatch with the elevation. So staff has 4 conditions you see, some of them are pretty much consistent with other approvals, and one also included there's some overspray on the ground that I want to make sure it's cleaned up off of the city right away and sidewalk. So with that, staff is recommend council respond to any questions.
We've got the color swatches, the computer rendering, as we all know, don't do justice for the color swatches, but the client did provide us with the color swatches on the paper, which really helps out our decision making because it's kind of, and that's why we decided to go to those things. It sure helps out because it's just, it comes out totally. When I got the computer, it looked like it was going to be turquoise.
No, sir. No orange or green? No.
Yeah, so it was a little depressing. Anyway, I have gone by that building myself. I'm a little confused in our process here because I know that we had an approval procedure that is posted online, which states the program and how it's supposed to do. And this is the second time that we've been been asked to approve something that's actually already done. Rather frustrating, not pointing out you people, you know, as the culprits of it, but maybe we need to work better on getting this information into the property owners. That being said, which I could go on and on for hours now, but I do have a couple of questions on that project. It may not, it doesn't really relate to the color of it, but I see that you've also stuccoed the front end. I think that was mentioned on there. Where it joins the building on the right-hand side, I believe it's, I always want to call them Hewlett Packard, but I know it's not that. It's not that. Jacksonville. Where they do, and I know it's not a finished product, but just as they go into there and you remove that original roof trim that was on there, and as you go into that side of that building, the elevations are not the same now. I just want to mention it that the contractors, buildings inspectors might want to have that step down to the original surface and or other feathered in over, because it just looks like a bump that's on somebody else's building.
Gotcha.
And there's also a crack that's on somebody else's building that might have already been, it's been in existence. So, but just that bump where it comes out, because that thing probably, you know, when they built these buildings, probably within that, but it just would, from my point of view, would look a little bit better. Anyway, we've had a chance to look at the colors. Do we have any comments on the color stuff?
Just the concern about, is that, in the 1800, early 1900 color schemes to keep our town looking like it was?
Yes, sir.
It's not on the, those colors are not on the color chart that was also printed in the local historic community color palette, which this palette was taken and produced before I came here, but it was produced based upon the colors of the town. It also makes mention in there that looking for other colors, you can go into Benjamin Moore, Don Edwards, and it says Sherman Williams to get their historical accurate paint selections. Look at that accurate paint selection. I did not see these particular colors on there. So I guess your big, one of the big concerns is we're asking to approve a color that's not within the guidelines.
Chairman, so the color palette is a suggested palette, but correct, I think I analyzed the relationship of the proposed colors versus the colors that are on the palette in the staff report. And there's not a, obviously an exact match, there's one gray, actually, and no charcoal or anything like that.
Chairman,
Yeah.
if the applicant would like to respond, could you step up to the podium?
Sure.
So Chairman, can I show you this? I know on there it looks like it's flat, but I promise it's not. It's the regular back, but it's these two colors. That will be on the,
Don, if you talk into the microphone, then Dana can hear you.
Yeah, and that's these two colors, yeah, but I just, what I'm saying is I could not find these two colors with these numbers on the
historic.
guidelines. So I was just trying to make a point of that,
Which is.
to do that as to what it is. Now, the black is going to be on the trim, already on the trim, and it'll be on the rating once that's put back up.
Yes. the colors are not in your guys' color scheme, but we did want to kind of explain where those colors came from as far as the, trying to keep the historical one, because we want to keep that original look as well. And seeing that was a color of, you know, grays were colors of back then when everything was built, but, keeping closer to, okay.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
The reason why we went with the grays is because of changing the name from Farley's to the Silver Tap. Comes from the fact that our town was founded on silver. And the rustic colors of silver when it tarnishes are almost like your grays and darks in your, and those are the kind of colors that we came up with because they're more earth tone as well. And so basically to get rid of the orange and the greens and all that other stuff that just does not go down at all. I can't stomach it, so we had to do something like overnight, so we apologize for that, but we just figured, well, let's get the earth tone colors going, and that's basically how we came up with the grays and the black.
And we do apologize because when we did.
Were you folks aware of this color swatch that we have up here?
No,
we were not.
Pioneer.
Somehow we need to
Neither
be
to
able
the
to get
previous
that
owners.
to all of our people.
We need to work on that end, so that these conversations would be a lot easier and a lot shorter, so.
Sure.
As soon as it was
I apologize
practical.
that we're kind of using you as our.
No, that's okay.
Our
That's-
area of, to be able to voice ourselves to the powers that be.
Sure.
We're glad to be the example. And the other thing was just, the building next to us has that color scheme there, that gray. We wanted to be just a little bit different and not exactly the same color as their face. And that's another reason for just the different tone of the gray as well.
Yeah.
But it's also thematic with what we want. We want to make this an historic, kind of tell the history of Globe inside of it, and the silver tab. That's what we want to do with the inside of it, make it a destination place when folks come up here to, have the history of Globe inside it. So that's kind of goes along with the colors and the theme that we're going with, externally and internally as well.
And just give it a clean look too. More, a little bit of modern, but still keep that historical
In the new
touch
back,
to it.
yeah.
Did you get a packet from the city of Globe when you purchased the building? With any kind of guidelines because you purchased a historic building? You got nothing?
No.
From your real estate agent or
No,
from anybody?
that
No.
tile company, the previous owners didn't mention.
That's, thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Well, that would have really bring us on because we would have wanted to find out what we actually needed to do beforehand, before we bought it, because finding out that as much as we have in these past few weeks, we probably would have not even done this thing. I know for sure, because I've been backpedaling for a while because it's quite a ride and a mess to clean up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we don't want to discourage people to come in and purchase properties and go with it. It's just that we were given, guidelines
Sure.
for us to look at and things like that.
Absolutely.
To tell you the truth, I don't know how Farley's ever became that color.
That was my next question. And that's the reason why we have this in place, right?
Yeah, that's probably, you bought the example.
Right.
One of the things we understand too with buildings like this, it does take investments into them to restore them and preserve them. So, I think that's something that folks are gonna miss in the community. They need to realize that and be ready to do that because these are really cool buildings, but, they're gonna need work. They're old buildings that need restored and preserved and
We don't have that many.
it takes an investment to do. So, we understand that and excited about that too.
I'm kind of disappointed you didn't put the palm trees back
Oh,
on.
Yeah.
I started drinking in it when I was 12, so. Quite familiar with the building.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Explaining better, Chris. Thank you.
Yes.
As far as the discussion goes, I have gone by that building this morning and before I got these swatches, because I wanted to make sure, and I think that those colors do depict a better view of the existing, and it fits in with your silver tap. I think that it fits in there. Guess we're ready to, you have a comment?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Chair, I am expecting a public comment. If
Oh,
you'd
yes,
allow
you
me
are.
to look at my email right now, I'll see if I can then exit the screen.
I do have a question. If we're gonna okay this, should this be added to this Coast Watches?
I think so. Because it's,
How do we get that home?
we'll just, as we get with Dana, we'll try to bring it up in the next meeting. Expand our color palette a little bit.
Mr. Chair, we have received a public comment from
Great.
DJ Walling. And she writes, hi HPAC, my name is Deborah. Thank you for granting me a few moments of your time. I've been asked to speak on behalf of a group of residents that are concerned about a current renovation taking place on Broad Street. This morning on your agenda, you are all considering a request for new exterior paint at 230 North Broad Street, formerly Farley's Pub. This is the address I would like to speak about. 230 North Broad Street was built in 1908. There is a concern that the historic preservation of that building is being destroyed. There is also a concern that HPAC was completely left out of the approval processes and guidelines that are normally in place for renovations done in our historic district. The renovations on this building started on November 20th. That's approximately 17 days before a meeting with HPAC was even on the books. We feel that as a result of HPAC not being informed of the renovation, beautiful historic glass bricks on the upper half front of the building dating back to the 30s or 40s were demolished, removed, and stuccoed over. So sadly, that piece of history is gone forever. I've been told by local old timers that they believe those glass bricks date back as far as the 20s. HPAC is such an important part of our downtown, and you all do such a fantastic job. I think this is why a why a lot of people are wondering if HPAC was totally bypassed on this particular project. We were told that a green light was given by another department because the renovation was labeled as repaired. If that is what happened, then it seems they found a loophole that directly goes around the historic preservation guidelines. We sincerely hope that HPAC will look into this. Thanks again for your time this morning. That was from Deborah Walling.
And Deborah makes a very, very valid point. It's kind of like, again, it's past the point of being able to save those windows. I don't know the history of that building. I don't know if they go back, or how long they go back, but that is why HPAC was set into place here, and if we would have had time on there, because I do like to investigate the historic value of the buildings, because it's many worlds. But like she stated, there's nothing, that part of it has been taken off.
I would like to add the fact that we've seen some historic pictures of this building where that glass block was painted all over, and then it was removed. Some of the block was broken, and actually the way it was put together, it was almost like moving. So whenever it rained against that building, water was coming straight into the building as well. So there was a lot of issues that we actually contemplated before we even did what we did with that wall, that I did want to mention that. So whenever that glass block was put up, the fact that quite a bit of it was broken and it wasn't really holding together very well. So trying to replace that same block again and save it, and then be able to get the same block again to be able to replace it would probably be a challenge. So that's the reason why we missed it.
Well, like I say, this is all after the fact. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that.
But it's after the fact in there, and not much that we can do about it at this particular point. is something that we need to, as a, committee, we need to stress more adamantly with the city council as to, to follow the guidelines that were approved or abolish them. So let's, go ahead and make a,
Mr. Chair, we do have a member of city
I'm
staff, Tony
sorry.
Manfredi, building official.
Didn't even see you sneak up
Yeah.
there.
I just stepped up here, I just popped up from underneath.
You're slow.
Mr. Chair, committee members, I just wanted to comment on the public comment was that, clarify, to be fair to the recipient, and everybody involved. So, the contractor, forgive me, I forget his name, did come in?
James.
Okay, so he came into the city hall front counter and, had a discussion with myself about that block, last block, and stucco repair. And it was discussed at that point that HPAC needed to be involved in this and provide approval for all that. They ceased the operations at that point, not realizing, I think, the full extent of, you know, the requirement coming to HVAC. So I think you already hit it. I think it's a matter of maybe, pressing on when HVAC is required and that there is HVAC, particularly, you know, on that corridor. But the block and the stucco, so when it comes to repair of buildings, they're not changing the aesthetics of the building, or structurally. You know, repairs are required for these buildings. And they were coming in and they were restuccoing the cracks in the wall. And we talked about that and I said, well, you could restucco, but when it comes to paint, removing the block, they told me what they were gonna do. They wanted to take the block out because it was disarray. It was cracking, it was loose, things like that. And plywood it and then stucco it. And that's when the HVAC conversation. So it was brought into play and they did cease the operations at that point to be here today for a new event. So I wanted to just make that clear for everybody, how that played out and that they came in and did inquire about it, and it was brought up at that point. So,
Thank you, Tony.
I'd want them.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, again, I wish that it would have been stopped and brought into decision making factor whether or not that glass block would be found and replaced. You know, other than just assuming, there are people that in the town, we have people on our city council. We have city council members that they have so much time on their hands. They work for insurance companies, and so they got so much time on their hands that Mr. Shipley is very flexible and able to find historic items that are still manufactured. Not saying that it would happen in this case, but it's worth giving a shot to have somebody look into that. And then having the definites, well, no, this is unobtainable or things like that. I speak this of experience. They were going to destroy a building in Flagstaff many years ago to take the historic value out of the Reardon Ranch House because they said they couldn't get the tile made, and which was really kind of strange because 3 phone calls later they still make the tile in New York. So you know, it's just some of those things of knowing where to go and who to see. Unfortunately, this town doesn't have, that I know of. We might have a architect that specializes in historic restoration. I know that the town of Prescott does, and he was very helpful with a lot of things. But anyway, so again, we're to this point here on the paint color. If there's no more comments,
Chairman, if I could just let you know quickly, so the applicant was fully aware that this needed to come with HPAC prior to enclosing the glass block, anything that they were to do, would be at their risk. So obviously, this needs to go to council, but I'm just letting you know, this was a conscious decision, to avoid waiting for this, discussion, and you're fully, capable of applying a request to, reinstitute those last block if you like. Again, it will go to city council.
Thank you. Okay, so, are we ready to make a motion? And the chair make a motion? Oh, I did not know that.
If you'd like to call for a motion from your quorum, that probably would be.
I'll make a motion that we approve the colors, as stated.
I'll give a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the colors as presented? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you.
For getting us so much.
And don't be discouraged.
No, we're not.
Call me.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see you again soon.
Call me as a citizen.
We would love to see you play.
I'm in downtown all the time. I haven't been in that bar in a long time, but I'll probably, my wife allows me, I'll come in.
We'll welcome you.
Thank you.
And just for the record, the girls have been awesome.